Any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be the daddy. The Daddy Diaper Pack is available at daddingcompany.com.
Welcome to My Life as a Dad. Today's guest is Hank Baskett, former wide receiver, NFL professional football player, reality TV star, movie star, but best role to date, dad.
That's by far the best, and that's actually what I have as my little side note on Twitter is like husband, father, and the rest is just details because everything else is just considered work. Being a dad, that's who I am. That's who describes me, and being a husband, that's who describes who I am.
And there's a moment in that where you're not a dad, and then you are a dad.
Yep.
I mean, it's a really defining moment, and a lot of people don't understand that. Can you describe how that played into you when you were married but no kids, and then all of a sudden that responsibility?
It does happen fast, and I mean, you have the 9 months to prepare for the pregnancy, and this and that. You can read all the books you want, you can watch all the shows you want, but you truly do not know how to be a dad until that baby is in your hands, and that's when life kicks in right there, and everything changes from that moment because you've been blessed with this small child that is basically like clay, and it's how you are as a person and a father is what's going to shape that child. There's so many outside influences in life, but those can be limited if you at home create and instill the right values in your child. So you get to mold it, and then you get to mold the baby and the child until that day where they're making their own decisions. But I remember, I'll never forget my proudest moment, and I always tell Kendra about it, is I was the first thing that Hank was able to see. He first opened his eyes when I was sitting there holding him, looking at him.
Isn't that cool?
Oh,
yeah.
By far,
the bonding moment, like you can't even believe it when the baby, they come out and they hear, because our voices are so different, and I've had that with every baby is they hear my voice and they track, and it's like, it's like, wow.
You love it
because that's my baby.
Yeah, because like
cool.
Whenever little Hank was still inside Kendra, she would tell, like sometimes when he would hear my voice, it would start causing that movement because he knew my voice, but it was something different than just hearing Kendra's all the time. So
right.
Whenever I was holding him and I was just talking to him and then his eyes open, I was like, wow, that's a life-changing moment right there.
Do you remember, can you talk a little bit about were you worried, scared, afraid, not know what to do? And then how did you feel the very first time going through the labor and delivery?
I was extremely nervous because I was the youngest child. I have an older brother who's 10 years older than me. So
okay.
I've always worked with kids, but never really, taken care of a baby. So I had no idea what to expect. I was confident that I was going to be able to do it, but I mean, it's the first time doing anything. I don't care how confident you can be. Anything can happen. Anything can change on a moment's notice. So,
right.
I mean, one of the biggest things I was nervous about, I was talking to Kendra the other day, was I was cutting his nails. I remember when he was a baby, I was so nervous. See, me, I can care less. If I cut it too short, I know it's going to bug me later. I don't know how bad that could make the little Hank cry, if I cut his nails too short, just hold him the right way, but it all sort of comes to you. And going through delivery is, Kendra was over 30 hours in labor, and then finally Hank was 9 pounds 5 ounces. It just came to the moment where, they had to say we got to have a C-section because nothing was happening. So if we'd have known that up front, it would have been a lot faster and a lot easier because I felt bad for Kendra because the women can't eat anything. So she's sitting there. I'm trying to be a good husband and hold out and just have the shaved ice and things like that with her.
Right.
But after a long enough time came, I was like, man, I'm going to the cafeteria.
Right, you gotta go sneak out, right?
And I was like, oh man, I was like, that burger was so good I just had. So I held that as long as I could. But I remember when it was time to go and just being in there and seeing everything and realizing that within a short time, I'm gonna be holding our child. There was a lot of nerves going on, but trying to stay calm for Kendra because the drugs were, she was getting a little paranoid, and I remember sitting there, the tarp right here, the cover was covering from, I could see her, then I could see where the baby was gonna come out. So I was going back and forth, and the anticipation was like absurd.
So you looked over the curtain.
Yeah, I was going back and forth, and I remember
Right.
because she was getting a C-section, so I was sitting there holding her hand.
Right.
Then I looked back, I was sitting there, and I remember they were like, "He's about to come." I looked, nothing. Looked back at her. Hank's about to be here. I looked back, and he was out. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like just whoop, just that quick.
That's
and
crazy.
we were fortunate that with our TV show, I describe it as we have the best home videos. So we got to have from our marriage when we met to the birth of our first child, now going to be the birth of our second child. I love that. So if there's a moment I miss, I always can say, if I'm the normal dad and miss it on camera, I have footage of it. But
That is true. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
It's actually your own reality TV, right?
exactly. So if something was happening, like Kendra would get on and be like, "You missed that." I'm like, "The camera's got it. We're fine. Take it easy." But Kendra got upset at me a little bit because once Hank came out, I was holding her hand, and I was gone. I left her sitting right there on the table, and I was over there with Hank, just following him around because it was just amazing to see your child. It's the greatest feeling to know that you've created a human being.
My life as a dad.
Any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be the daddy. Please join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have a favorite celebrity or athlete dad that you'd like to see on the show, please give us a comment below. Sponsored by Daddy & Company, the perfect gifts for dad. Get 15% off your next purchase at daddyandcompany.com using promo code MLAAD15.